Hello ladies and gents, I am Diffin, and welcome back to From the Depths Ashes of the Empire Community Edition. In this episode I'm going to endeavour to try and speed up the game a little bit because I realise some of the battles have been getting a little bit stale. So I'm going to try and just clear out the lightning hoods as soon as possible and get on to the battles with the remaining factions. So to help in that regard we have a few designs here. Though only 5 are combat vessels, we have a turret and a design which unfortunately won't be being utilised. So to start with, we have the Benny Blade Hellhammer by Mad Doc 82. So this is the Hellhammer variant of the Baneblade. And the way it does that, it rather than the cannon, which was an advanced cannon, now it has a big cram cannon at the front there, but otherwise I think it's pretty much the same in terms of construction. So let's send this against something chunky, something like this Sentinel, I think. Cram cannon falls a little bit short there. There we go, the next one comes along, and does miss. Its accuracy looks good, so I don't know why it's having such difficulty actually aiming. Very, very strange. Let's destroy everything and send it against the Taipan, because this is actually quite an old design. I think it's the oldest design I haven't actually spawned in, so we'll send it against Taipan, see how it fares there. Again, it's falling a little bit short with that main gun. Very strange. Every shot is falling short from that main cannon there. This vehicle seems to be doing okay. It's just the turreted cram cannon just doesn't seem to want to aim properly. The whole mounted one is fine. See, there it hits. Oh, and there goes the second one. Yeah, okay. Maybe it's just something weird. Seems to be working now. So yes, the Benny Blade has been one of the most successful designs. I think it's the second oldest design still in my forces, so it's definitely surviving well. And so I'm looking forward to the Hellhammer proving it too can survive a huge amount of punishment and dish it out in turn. Next up though, we have the Burnstar Skirmish Interceptor by Red the Rage. A little cheap little plane with a fair few rockets there. It's been a while since we've had a small plane like this. Hopefully it's still going to be utilised in the campaign okay. I think this is more likely to be a good target against some of the Twin Guards. So we'll send it against one of the Rend drones. And I get shot and killed. Fantastic. And let's spawn down. This time though, I'm not going to use Twin Guard, I'm going to go into one of the planes, the Duster of Dustwind Gypsies, just because I don't want to get myself killed instantaneously. Okay, those missiles are pretty effective against the Duster. Nice. Well, definitely is good, and it's got a good little turning rate. Let's send it against the Gotha. Yeah, it turns very rapidly there, and it's quite a fast design, sitting at 62 meters per second. Yeah, and a good barrage of missiles, able to strike targets quite nicely. A very good, small, cheap interceptor. Very effective for its cost, I believe. Now, we have the Magikarp by Charcharodon. This design is unfortunately not going to be used because it's the Magikarp from the Cute Boat tournament, and unfortunately it still only knows Splash, and it is not very effective. If we send it against a friendly Taipan, it aims and it actually knocks itself over when it fires. So it only ever gets to fire once before it is rendered completely immobile. It did manage to destroy the Taipan, but that is the most effective I've ever seen this do. I've used it a couple of times and unfortunately it often misses. So, I'm sorry, but the Magiker will not be joining us at this time. So I will destroy that because it's just not effective and a little bit of a waste of 20k resources. To counter that though, we have the Landship by Charcharodon. And this, I think, is partial response to me calling everything of Charcharodon's designs landships. It is actually a ship which travels on the land, having the sub-object at the top here with the superstructure and all the weaponry. So if we send this one against Taipan, you can see it's doing very nicely. It's actually going to crash into its target there. Turn around slightly. Let's just remove Taipan again, and let's spawn it on the west side just because I want to see this fight play out a little bit more. So there we go. It's got all of its cannons at the front there. It's currently stuck a bit on the destroyed components of the Taipan. But it actually operates much more like a ship. I'm just going to full broadside here. It's got a fun little design. It doesn't seem to be firing as quickly as I'd like, but it does have a lot of guns, and it is getting a good consistent rate of fire out against the Taipan there. It's a bit large and doesn't seem to be made out of heavy armour like the other designs by Charcharodon, so it may not be as tough in the fight, but still a very fun and unique design. I haven't had anything like that deployed so far. Speaking of things I've not had deployed like it before, I have the main battle tank Cheese by Alwina. The 2K tank design, which is a giant block of cheese and has a piston, I think is it piston ram or just a heavy armor ram at the front, and a big mean cannon as well. A very fast block of cheese at that 60 meters per second, as fast as that plane we were using just now. So of course we'll have to face this against Taipan, but also probably send against something a little bit tougher as well. It's already destroyed the Taipan with its weapon there. Hang on, is this actually a cheese round? I didn't actually check the round. It might very well be. Inertial fuse, EMP warhead, flak. It's not as cheesy as I thought. I thought it was going to be a proxy exploit one, but no, it's just really strong. So we'll send this. Just trying, not sure which is easiest, but again, send it against the Sentinel. See how well it performs. So its cannon fires very, very fast. It seems to be making a right mess of the Sentinel there, slowing down the EMP going through, but obviously being absorbed by the cram gauges there. And it seems like it's already killed the Sentinel, almost. It's lost most of its wheels, because the wheels are incredibly weak. But it does have a very heavy core of heavy armour internally, making this a very, very, very potent craft. And yeah, this should serve very nicely in any fight going forwards. Well, he's also got shields on as well, just for ultimate cheese. It's a little bit of a bursty weapon, and it doesn't have that much in here. I suppose that is the individual. Yeah, it's is it? Yeah, it's just an autoloader only gun, no clips at all. So not tons of ammo there. But it does make it very, very resilient. As can be seen there, it took a massive hit there, but all the wedges and slopes keep this vehicle in top fighting order. And despite it being essentially immobilized, it has destroyed its target and taken fairly minimal damage. 95% there. Excellent, good job. Next we have the Utin medium tank hover by Mainfall. So we have had Utin tank already, but this is the hover variant, which is actually going to be probably a lot more useful over a lot of the terrain we fight on. I think it's been mainly fighting against the Twin Guard, so let's send it against something here. Not Twin Guard, Lightning Hoods. Get it right. Let's send it against the Amplitude. So it's got a very nice turning, very fast. What the heck just happened there? I don't know. I pressed the B and the tank exploded. Let's try that again. There we go. A good rate of fire, good maneuverability. A fair bit of damage at the front there. Nothing too deadly so far, but that's because the Amplitude has been destabilised, making it quite a difficult target to strike. It's only going to be a matter of time before it is destroyed by these fragmentation rounds. A very nice design there, good speedy. I just hope that big chain explosion which occurred at the start of the showcase won't happen to it in the campaign. But otherwise, it's good design. Having hover elements is always very useful in Ashes of the Empire due to how weak wheels are. To have a tendency to fall over a lot of the time. And finally we have the Micro Bunker Mark 1 by Rich Dastardly. This is to be added in to the actual laser fortress wall, I think. And it looks innocuous enough. So let's send it first of all against a Taipan. So it opens up, then pistons up a laser array, and then does nasty things with simple lasers. Does very nasty things with simple lasers. It's insane. In fact, I'm just intrigued, how many of these does it take to destroy a Lux? So, let's get them in within range, and then spawn in, oh I don't know, 4 to start with. I think that's actually going to be more than enough. It might not be, but spawn in the Lux at point blank range. All these will now be opening up, getting ready to fire. It is smoked as well, so it'll be taking absolutely minimal damage again from the Lux. Okay, maybe I was right, 4 is more than enough. Yikes. Look at that just array of blocks which just fell off the design there. I think it's now out of range, isn't it? Oh no, just in range, still. And yikes. It's now actually out of range, but what's it down to? 87% health. Wow. Simple lasers are insane. They really are. And those are all perfectly fine. They've probably got repair tentacles and repair bots, so they can just help each other out no problem. But that is a very, very nice little design. It's pushing itself up and then just completely murdering everything. They're not as tough. It's not got too much heavy armor by the looks of it, but it's still very, very tough and easily able to take out even some of the strongest designs should they get within range, which is always good fun. But that is it for the showcase, so let us go into the campaign proper. So where do I want to deploy these forces? So there's the second community force, which seems like a good candidate, but that's also got quite a lot of designs in already. The third community force is basically completely fine and is very, very strong. These guys will take on... No, actually no. These guys will finish off the lightning hoods. The second community force will get ready to take on the Onyx Watch. So that essentially leaves the first community force. So yeah, I'm going to spawn everything in with this force here. Then also, I'm going to spawn in a few of those laser bunkers in front of this force here. Okay, so we have a new battle going on. So that is actually the first community force, which has renamed itself again. Really annoying, every time I add in a new unit it keeps renaming. So let us send it off against this force here with a Lux and a skyscraper and a load of fireflies and there's a couple of wisps in there, so we could lose a few things. But let's begin and set everything up for this battle. So everything is set up in a bit more of a spread to try and prevent everything from ramming into each other and also put the new designs slightly towards the front. Fortunately, it doesn't work too well as the impulse nuke goes straight in the back of the Luma, I think it's Luma, and destroys almost all of it entirely in a single strike. The new strike fighter goes along with the Heavy Hawk, bombarding all the lightning hoods at long distance from the air. This was skittering around in all directions, doing a fair amount of damage there. The hammer is still slightly shooting short, so a bit of a problem. But the cheese, the giant block of cheese, is doing incredibly well, shooting its EMP messy gun into the sides of the lightning hoods there. Skipping over to Charizardon's landship and the remnants of the Haluma, which is still just about surviving, we can see that the deck is at a slight angle, but otherwise it is functioning as expected. I did kind of forget to remove the alpha map on the Hellhammer there, so it's not too easy to see what is going on with it there due to the green, the big shields, the big blue shields, not green. Still, the APS of the cheese is doing a fantastic job of just breaking through everything it faces. But we need to just skip over to another area of the battle now, which is the damaged tanks, as the Autotune did unfortunately take a nasty strike there in the Autotune hover, as it was destroyed. I did unfortunately miss it. I tried to skim over to it, but it wasn't in time. The skyscraper is disintegrating, and as you can see there, that we're doing a decently well in terms of damage, but a few things have taken quite nasty holes in them. Just observing Cheese going in for its ramming attack using that big spike at the front of it there, but it gets stuck on a tiny little bit of terrain, well, destroyed vehicles on the terrain. The landship is moving forward and is actually repairing this tank, which was about to be disintegrated. I quickly checked, it was actually below 55%, so it is being saved by Charizardon's design there, which is really rather nice. The cheese is taking a real beating, but is still doing well, and it rams at the front there, breaking off a big chunk of blocks. The strike fighter having taken a little bit of damage as well, but otherwise still in the fight. Skipping around and just observing the battle a little bit more generally as the lightning hoods are being annihilated. The Lux there is doing quite strongly, but unfortunately our tank is heavily struck by friendly fire as everything fires at the Lux. It just completely hammers the roof of the tank there. And you can see that it isn't doing very well, and it is being sustained by repairs by the landship. So hopefully it won't actually fully disintegrate. A few missiles still going around from the strike fighter, though it is in a bit of a death spiral, having taken a nasty hit to the wing. But lightning hoods are basically down to a broken thing. I level up, which is always nice. And there we go. It is about to be destroyed, and it is too damaged. And there we go. The battle is finished, ended by a nuke. Well, it technically was one before the nuke landed, but, you know, the nuke made sure there was no chance of it coming back to life. Congratulations, all there. Let's quickly pull all. Unfortunately, what did we lose? So, oh, that was already dead, unfortunately, so I will delete you. And we lost the Jagdpanzer, probably killed by one of its own nukes, but I can't actually check because we're actually in another battle, so we'll go over the casualties for both battles shortly. Let's get everything set up here. So the weather turns just as we're about to begin the battle. Let's get ready to go now. Next battle in this episode. A huge, awesome looking angel flare-like arrangement of missiles coming from everything. And a huge amount of beam lasers towards the front craft, the resource tank. As Crams get ready to fighting and firing its little simple lasers out as well. The anti-aircraft tanks moving forwards, firing their small APS at everything there. I'm not sure if they're doing much damage, but they definitely look impressive. Particularly alongside their larger teal deltaplane. Having a look at just the overview due to the poor weather, you can see that the enemy have lost quite a lot of health already, which is nice. Another barrage of missiles come out from basically everything, making the sky filled with even more smoke and yuck. But lots of fragments are striking into the Lightning Hood's designs there. Along with deltaplanes, traitors. I'll go on a lot about the deltaplane, but that's because it is so obvious as to where it is, since it is the only vehicle in my forces with such an identifiable attack. Skipping over to the rest of the battle, we'll go into more sped up gameplay from certain perspectives, just to try and accelerate the process of the battles for this episode. Since we have a fair number of battles planned out, since I wish to be annihilating the entirety of the Lightning Hoods this episode, barring their fortress. Just get a little bit of an overview there, 4 times speed, but just going to the overview map just to check how well everything is surviving, which is quite well actually. Again, just watching everything, going too damaged. And a vehicle trying to escape, but thankfully gets disabled before it goes 25 kilometers away. However, we have that. So there's apparently an enemy right up in space up here somewhere. Let's go try and find where it is. They're going to be quite irritating to kill. Hopefully they'll actually despawn. There is technically a despawn counter apparently, but I don't see it that often. Well, the deltaplane's trying to fire up to it. You can just about see the blue traces there, though it might get cut off by the encoding. Well, here's the enemy ship, all the way up into space. How far away am I? So it's 5 kilometers up. And that's annoying. It's actually got enough thrust to keep itself flying, it seems. One of the tanks just got smacked and damaged. Knowing the vehicles keep smashing into each other and causing quite a bit of damage. Actually, will one of my micro nukes work? Spawn it in and see if it does. Does not seem to want to be targeting it. The vehicles are trying. Fortunately, I have just created a massive pile-up at the moment. Spawn in another micro nuke. Hopefully it can go up and find it, because at the moment I'm creating such a massive pile-up and losing tons of materials for it. Excellent, the battle is finished. Let's pull all quickly before they kill each other even further. So now, looking at the casualties of both forces. In the first community force, we lost the Jagdpanzer. Probably killed itself when it was spawning nukes. It probably spawned a nuke and then the nuke got lasered, smashing itself into the ground. So unfortunately you were destroyed. And the hover tank was destroyed. Didn't fortunately see how that occurred. Delta got very close, as did the TH-2280. But otherwise, everything did survive, albeit quite badly damaged. Over in 3rd Community Force, we lost quite a bit, actually. Probably because in that last melee of vehicles crashing and colliding into each other at the very end, which is really annoying because of how high it went. So all the tanks kind of rammed into each other, causing quite significant damage to one another. But I tried to use my nukes to go after it, but it didn't help. So we lost the Viper Mark II 71mm frag, which was one of the AA tanks. And then also, both Croatians, also AA tanks, and the Sledgehammer AA tank. I'm really bad at keeping anti-aircraft tanks alive in this, aren't I? Except the Delta Plan. The Delta Plan is fine. The Delta Plan is perfect. Let us keep on moving and advancing forwards with these designs and clear out and wipe out all of the Lightning Hood's tiles, so we are ready for war against all 3 factions next episode. I'd have liked to have done it this or the previous episode, but that's how it is. Okay, the 3rd Battle Force is ready to go into combat, but we'll just roll it on a little bit longer. So let's line all the tanks up, ready for combat. Flying Doctor don't want to be going that high, but everything else will go ready to go. Okay, so this is the lineup. I have the resource truck right at the front, because that seems to absorb quite a lot of fire, but I've set it up in the broadside location, so it should do quite nicely there. Let's begin this battle. And let the battle commence. Indeed, commence it does, with a huge array of lasers and missile fire straight at the resource tank once more. This battle is being mostly played at very high speed, since we've seen this force quite a lot in action, and it has served us very well. I know there's a couple of new vehicles in it for the moment, but it is, to be honest, one of the more knowledgeable forces of what we are expecting it to perform. As I said, the resource tank is taking the brunt of the assault, and we are doing as well as I was expecting, but we have taken a considerable number of casualties. And observing the battle from other directions, yes, we are not doing especially well. Just quickly having another scan of the forces and realise that, well, actually, not doing amazingly. Still doing okay, but not as well as I would expect this force to be performing at this juncture. Jumping back into the overview, we just observe everything from above, and it seems to be using health all over the place. Seems to be doing quite nicely. And there's all the decaying blueprints. So the last Lightning Hood's design is this poor little amplitude. Much like last time, but this one at least isn't flying into space, causing all the tanks to pile up into each other and die. And there we go, it is now 2 damaged. So, victory is ours! So, with that battle finished, did we take any casualties this time? None whatsoever. Excellent. Let's just repair everything up. Then we will push forwards again with the 3rd Community Force. And have another battle, I think. Okay, so the 3rd Community Force is once more ready to go into combat, so let's take on this group as well. Seems a nice proper lineup, but we are facing off against 2 Lux, which could prove difficult. But let us begin and find out what happens. Indeed, let us begin immediately. The resource tank is taking the massive brunt of the force once more, just absorbing so much of the strike there. It's still doing well, but then the lasers seem to be firing at one of the poor little helis, stripping off almost all of its blocks as well. Not looking too healthy there, as it sprays confetti and explosions as it traverses the landscape. The Delta Plan also takes a nasty strike, losing most of its barrel segments, so it sprays its bullets in a massive spread all over shot. And then even more laser fire and ramming of our own vehicles together, causing additional damage. also something you may notice at the side there. We have no fuel storage. I don't notice this for a while. In fact, I don't think we had enough fuel storage in the last battle either. So yes, that is going to be causing quite a few problems in this episode, in this battle, in this episode generally. But there's the Taipan. It has been defeated. Well, our vehicles are taking quite a beating, and it's at this point I'm getting really concerned about our chances of victory. I'm observing the Luxors and going, hang on, the Luxors are almost at full strength. We are not. We're dying. Our tanks are taking severe beating. Yet the Luxors are doing fine. They're just doing really, really well. And there we go. And things are just despawning. We just don't have enough vehicles left to continue fighting. But then I noticed the crucial. Wait, these have run out of fuel. Oh heck. This is all my fault. Resources. I thought you guys had plenty of fuel. No wonder they're dying. Okay, the shields are back up now. You can actually start deploying smoke once more. That was a massive mistake. Okay, basically everything is now dead due to that. I completely forgot fuel. Oh dear. Well, hopefully these guys are going to be able to survive now. I really don't want to have to wipe because of my own idiocy. And yes, that was a very, very idiotic circumstance. I checked to see what I'd lose if I retreated, and it's basically everything. So I just decided, alright, you know what, let's just carry on with it. Try and capture and go for broke. So immediately go for the Lux. I go for the Zeus to start with, because the Luxors are a little bit too tough, and this will allow us to focus the rest of our forces on defeating those Lux. And the flyer is Injectus. I'm just trying to detonate the ammo and the AI, which is just there, and there we go. I can't see anything. So now it's the Lux's turn. Jump off the Delta Plan and observe how badly it looks at the moment. And shortly get over to the Lux, find where its AI is, and immediately just start smashing my way directly through the blocks there. In very short order, it becomes mine. So now it's just time to take on the last couple of flyers and remaining Lux. And the Lux is where I am headed now. So immediately jump onto the Lux and get shot and killed. Which is a bit of a pain, but at that point I'm too far away to do anything, so I just observe the Delta Plan shoot this poor little flyer down as the Lux despawns in the distance there. And the missiles doing a decent job, and then the spread of the Delta Plan's tracers striking it eventually. And there we go, it is 2 damaged, and thus victory is ours, at extreme cost. So we managed to capture a Lux and the Zeus, so the Lux will be worth a fair amount of resources, worth 202,000 materials there, which is really useful, because that's going to need to be used to replace the lost forces here, which actually wasn't as bad as I thought. Did manage to survive by quickly adding in those fuel tanks, and yeah, that was basically a difference, because then all the smoke went back up, because the smoke uses fuel and ammo, not just ammo, which is kind of important. So you have fuel, and then also the shields went down, and some of them probably have, I'm not sure if they have other shields, but maybe they've got energy shields, but still, the smoke is a big one. So we lose the 483mm Hesh, the Sakron Type A. The Taipan, unfortunately, was destroyed. It went in really close, though. And unfortunately, the heavy artillery resource truck, which was really quite strong and doing excellent work until I got it killed. So yeah, this force is getting ready to go again, but yeah, I'm not too sure if they could deal with another 100 tile. It looks like my fuel situation isn't actually that good. Probably need to spawn in some more refineries. So because of the refinery problem, I've actually just doubled the number of refineries I now have. so hopefully that will definitely help the resource situation with the amount of fuel. The highly efficient refineries just do not produce very quickly whatsoever. And that's because multiple times I've now had to utilise combat refueling in a battle. And it did almost get everything killed in this force, so sorry about that. At least it has been resolved now. Okay, so the second force is now ready to take on the lightning hoods. Let's spawn in over here and get them all ready for the combat. And first of all, have they got fuel? Yes. Okay, that's good. That's more than the last group did. That fighter still hasn't repaired. Odd. It has been set to repair, it just hasn't repaired for whatever reason. Okay, so the battle is ready to begin. We are facing a Lux and 2 of the towers, which could make it a bit of a problem battle. Though I may have to step in and do some capturing, but we shall see. Let us begin. Yeah, 2 towers here. I didn't really want to be sending this force against the lightning hoods again, because I didn't think it was particularly well planned as an anti-lightning hoods force. Still, it was in a good position, and I do like to try and showcase as much different content and vehicles as possible. We've had kind of faced a lot with the other 2 forces this episode. But there we go, there goes the tenderizer. I'm a bit worried it's going to be taking on the Lux, but it is actually aiming for the building. And here's this moment of awesome as it tries to ram itself all the way up the building. Unfortunately, it does take a nasty hit, I think, from friendly fire, which knocks off part of the spin block there, preventing it from being able to ram itself further up the building. If it had been able to ram all the way up the building there and take out the AI, that would have been something incredible. Still, the Lux is doing alright, and just go and observe the tanks around all over the place. One of them just in a bit of a standoff position, just bombarding things at long distance, the 2 walkers having fallen over, more little AA tanks, and there's the Smolderer looking quite worse for wear, having taken the brunt of the initial attack. And hang on, we have the Deltaplan anti-tank just ramming into Kneecap's poor little tawny tank. But he has repair tentacles on, so it repairs it despite having caused the casualty itself. Just looking around and realise that the buildings are now at last despawning, having lost their AIs. The Benny Bay actually looking really worse for wear. I think that's the worst we've ever seen it in this Let's Play, which is quite surprising. And there's both buildings. I realise that one is just AI dead, so I just try and capture it, but miss it by a couple of seconds. A bit of a shame, but that's how it is. Speeding through the rest of the battle because nothing particularly of note happens. There is the Lux here, which I do try and capture. Trying to figure out the way onto it, of course. Just going to really get onto it when it flips upside down. So a few shots into the guts there, and it's mine. Excellent. Load more resources. Observing the rest of the battle as the rest of the lightning hoods just kind of spread out around the territory. Observe most of it, the rest of the battle, from the map view, just so I can see where they are. The visibility isn't that great. And the shots are kind of being shot in all really wild directions at flyers. You can only just see them from that perspective. That is a pretty neat little battle. Didn't do too badly, considering I didn't feel this force was very suited to Lightning Hood's combat. I know we have used it before with the Lightning Hoods, but I didn't feel it was particularly designed with the size of the vehicles we have. A lot of quite small designs in this force, which do suffer against laser fire, particularly because I don't think much at all has smoke. Just observing if there's anything crashing into each other and why some of these vehicles are not actually firing, which is a touch odd. And eventually, the plane does take a destabilizing hit and drifts gradually down to the ground, where everything just suddenly dogpiles onto it and fires, annihilating it. Though, I didn't realise there was also this guy, so yeah, This one will soon be annihilated as well. Enemy takes an AI strike there, and then a cram hit to the turret, knocking it completely down to the ground. And there we go, it disintegrates into nothing. And we are victorious. So let's scrap the Lux for another 150k. And what casualties did we take? Unfortunately, despite the absolutely awesome showing of trying to ram all the way upside of a skyscraper, the Tenderizer was defeated. So sorry, Guns McLegend, but your Tenderizer is no more. So all that's left is one single tile of the lightning hoods. I'm actually morbidly curious if the third community force can actually deal with it, so let's find out. I know they're at massively reduced strength, but I do want to see if they can actually fight them off. I can't actually see the spawn. Was there just no spawn? Huh. So there was no lightning hoods in this area. Bizarre. Well, they despawned or something, but yeah. That means the lightning hoods are all but defeated. They still have their base here, which I don't want to fight yet because, as I said, it's already damaged and a bit buggy. But that now leaves us with the ability to face off against all the other factions. So I'm going to move this, the first force, over to probably take on the Twin Guard. Then the third community force is going to go deal with the Steel Striders. And I will be bolstering at their strength next episode. The second community force, avoid going into Onyx Watch lands, move up to attack this tile here. So we're going to have a three-pronged assault against all factions from here, right near our main base. But that's all going to be next episode, so thank you very much for watching this episode of From the Depths, Ashes of the Empire Community Edition with myself, Anadiffin. If you did enjoy the episode, please leave a like and or comment below, as it is always great to hear from you lot. Also, be sure to check out the rest of my channel for more From the Depths videos and other games, and be sure to swing by the Discord channel for more interactive direct chatting. And also, I am still open for submissions, and particularly anti-aircraft tanks, because I am really good at destroying them. Still, thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you next time. But until then, I'm out. Goodbye.